Right guys, moving on to module 3, I'll be covering dating and attraction. This is the module where most of you guys are probably going to feel most uncomfortable because it's not just dating and lines and tactics that I want to cover. It goes a bit deeper than that. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation, maybe the gym, on the night out, and you wanted to speak to a girl? You've seen her, she looks attractive, you want to go approach her, but that voice in your head starts talking to you. And by the time that voice in your head finishes its little speech, you have missed the moment. And then if someone asked you about that situation, you say certain things like, yeah, I just froze up. Or I've gone to do it, but I just stopped. Or I'm not too sure what to say when I get there. If that's familiar, then good, because that's what we're going to be getting into today. But before we get into that, we need to address something because there's a thought that kind of runs underneath all of this. And it usually sounds like this. What if the problem isn't the method? What if it's me? And then closely behind it, this probably works for other guys, but I might be the exception. I need you to hear me out. That thought that you have, that kind of weird fear that you have approaching women is something that can actually be solved. And guys, it's not your opening line, not your height, it's the belief that you have that transformation isn't possible is what's holding you back. And we're going to dismantle that. Here's something that I want you guys to genuinely think about. If your confidence requires willpower, it's not confidence, it's a costume. We've said it in the previous module, but it's very fucking important. Because all of us have had moments where we've spoken to someone and it's gone really well, had confident conversations with females and they've actually been alright. And then we've all had moments where the conversation didn't go too well. You got rejected, you got ignored, you got laughed at, you got brushed away, and it can get quite exhausting, but it's part of the journey. And naturally, an effect of a bad social interaction is causing this. If you have a good conversation, then external feedback loop is very good. If you have a bad conversation, it goes down. If you get ignored, it goes down. You have a good conversation and it goes up. The problem is that we're basing our confidence off someone else's action. So your internal kind of regulator is at the mercy of external factors, which is not how it should be. So what changes when you genuinely transform this area is your sense of self isn't determined by external factors. And that's the thing that women are actually responding to when they say a man has presence. It's being someone that's kind of unshakable by any type of environment or conversation. It's not necessarily his looks, his money, what he's got to offer, but his aura and his demeanor. It's the fact that he exists inside a stable frame, regardless of how the moment might go. He isn't altered by approval or disapproval. He just kind of goes through his life being pretty unshakable. And that quality, that stability is attractive in a very, very different way. And guys, here's what I need you to understand about building that. You will never consistently build, attract, or earn above the ceiling that you cap to yourself. And the addiction to approval caps that ceiling very fucking quickly. So what I'm trying to say is if deep down you already don't think that you can attract that type of person, that type of woman into your life, then your brain is naturally gonna put that ceiling down pretty fucking low. And in reality, guys, you can't really fake your way past that. You have to actually just change your belief system. And guys, look, I can heavily relate to it. There was a moment of time in my life where I wasn't really confident. And when I'd have conversation, I'd almost seek approval from women. I'd agree too much. I'd kind of be too excited. And if the conversation didn't go my way, I'd be kind of down and out about it. And women could sense that. They could tell that I was seeking approval. And in essence, them type of conversations didn't really lead to anything of significance, as they could see straight through me. Guys, next I'm gonna cover approaching anxiety. And pretty much every guy that I spoke to has this in one way or another. Whether it's on a night out, you just don't go over to that girl that you really like. Whether it's in that gym and you get the perfect opportunity and you just don't approach the girl, you just freeze, you just stand there. Whether you're on holiday and that girl is clearly looking at you and you still don't muster up the courage to just go say hello. You know the situation. And guys, the standard advice on this is pretty fucking terrible. Just go up and say hi. Well, it's not actually that simple. Or someone might say, what's the worst that could happen? They know the answer: rejection, embarrassment, confirmation of the fear. And guys, that advice doesn't really help because it skips the actual mechanism. So here's what's happening before you actually approach someone. Your brain is running a risk assessment, basically doing its job. It's trying to protect you from embarrassment. The problem is that thought process was built for something else. The fear in front of you isn't actually a fear. Communication is not a fear. Like, she's not going to physically harm you. The consequences of rejection aren't actually as catastrophic as you think on your nervous system. But the problem is your body doesn't know that, so it kind of locks you down. And the way through this is not really eliminating the fear, it's about understanding the fear and just acting like you're fearless. And what I want you guys to really think is that every time your 1.0 self says, this is uncomfortable, we need to fall back, that is the exact moment that you do not listen to it. Because trust me, you don't build the new identity by waiting around till it feels comfortable. That's not how this game works. You build it by proceeding when you feel like you're not meant to. And that is kind of the approach to anxiety framework, guys. The discomfort is not a red light. It's just a confirmation that you're at the edge of where your old identity is. And every time you move through it, it expands. Every time you don't, it reinforces the wall. And at the end of the day, guys, it compounds in both directions. So choose the one that you want to move in. Now I want to get into something a bit more specific because I hear this all the time. My chat is dead, it just fizzled out. We move to Instagram, then nothing happens. I've done all of this for nothing. It goes dead on her end. And most of you will think this happened because you used the wrong opener or needed a better line. Well, the fizzling out never really happens because of a specific word. It 9 times out of 10 happens because of who's leading the interaction. When you're in conversation maintenance mode, and you're just keeping the conversation alive, that is when most of the attraction is lost. Because at the end of the day, she wants to be led and no one is leading her. She wants to feel like the interaction is going somewhere, that there's some type of direction to it. It has to have almost intent. So one of the most kind of beneficial and useful things I can give you in this module is whoever asks the questions, lead the conversations. And that's it. That's the frame. When you're asking questions with genuine curiosity, you're the one in the driving seat. And when you're just responding, you're just passenger riding. And guess what? Women don't want to be with a passenger. They want to be with a driver, the guy that knows where it's going, the guy that knows the direction. One last thing in this module, guys, and it's a very important one. You're going to get rejected. And anyone who tells you there's a system that eliminates rejection is outright lying to you. Rejection is just a part of this. And the reality is the guys that get good at dating aren't the ones that never got rejected. They're just the men who handled it differently. Guys, look, rejection happens to everyone. What separates the man with genuine frame is the gap between feeling it and acting on it. What I mean by this, guys, when rejection happens is there's 2 ways you can react to it. You can either overreact, you can go quiet, you can kind of put more pressure on her, or you could just be the guy who holds frame and doesn't react to it at all. He just processes it and then just moves on. That is it. It's not that deep, so don't worry about it too much. And there's one more reframe that I want to leave you guys with, because sometimes guys go into this thinking more options equal more power, more matches, more likes, more dates. And I get it, but you don't really build abundance by having more women in rotation. You build it by having a genuinely full life that no single outcome carries the entire way. When your life is genuinely full and your purpose is clear, you can approach it from a take it or leave it kind of place. It's just one of many things that have happened in your life, and that is the most attraction version of you. Someone that doesn't need anything or want anything. And it's also the version of you that we are building across all of these pillars. And guys, I guess I felt this kind of full circle, full life moment when I experienced it myself. I got to a point in my life, I think I was probably around 27, 28, so a few years ago for me, and life was good, my job was good, I've been on plenty of dates in the past, so I kind of knew where I stood when it come to that sector. Physique was good, felt like I was in good physical kind of shape, appearance-wise as well, and every interaction that I had, I just didn't want anything from it. And that's not me saying that I didn't want it to go anywhere, but I really just didn't care about the outcome. Like, I had nothing to lose. My life was so full that any interaction that I had with a girl was so blasé that if it went well, I'd be cool with it. If it went shit, I just wouldn't care. And that's kind of the level that I want you guys to get to. You're almost unfazed by every interaction. You're unfazed if she doesn't reply. You're unfazed if the date goes really bad, because you've got a life that is greater than that whole process itself. And one more thing, guys, before we go on to the next module, I've put together a document that breaks down pretty much my whole dating framework, something that I use with all my one-to-one clients, the approach structures, how to lead conversations, how to text, but it also covers the frameworks in a fair bit of detail, so you don't just have to rely on willpower or a good mood every time you go out. If you do want that, just drop me a message on Instagram and I'll ping it over.